So since TikTok has decided to remove my account permanently, I figure they probably wouldn't mind if I did one more Western North Carolina video for you guys before they do. And I'm not going to be as filtered, and I'm going to sum up pretty much everything that I have seen here with regards to these government agencies in Western North Carolina since the saline incident has happened here. I have watched them, and this is what kicked off me doing videos in the first place. I watched them go out into a community a couple weeks after the storm hit that wasn't touched. It lost power, it lost water, but by the time FEMA came out to this community, one trailer park out here in Candler, North Carolina, they already had their power and internet back up and going, and they already had a new water system in place for the residents there. And it was right across the street from one of the biggest distribution sites that we had here in Candler. They went into this one trailer park, went door to door handing out MREs and bottles of water. Not dry goods, not cleaning products, not diapers, MREs and bottles of water. And it wasn't even regular bottles of water, it was some sort of special bottles of water that last up to 10 years. They handed an elderly woman 2 boxes of water. And when I went to get those boxes of water to take them inside for her, because she could not physically hold those boxes very easily, the FEMA person with the National Guard stopped me and said, "No, we need specifically to get a picture of us handing this woman these bottles of water." They were using it as a photo op. At that point, they still had not gone into the hardest hit areas where people actually needed them. I still had friends in the hardest hit areas that had been without everything: water, power, transportation, everything, that had not seen a single FEMA person up until that point. And honestly, it was weeks later before they did. I have sat here watching FEMA go into another elderly community on the other side of town, again, not hit by the storm, and hand out MREs and bottles of water, not dry goods or anything else, MREs and bottles of water, and a flyer to help them start the $750 FEMA relief process. When I called the number to help one of those elderly people, it was not what FEMA had said it was. It was trying to sell them health insurance and life alerts. That's what kicked off me doing these videos in the first place. Since then, I have watched them build this huge camp out here in my local community with hundreds of trailers. And I'm not talking travel trailers, I'm talking trailers set up with power and water and air conditioning and heat and beds and everything that these FEMA workers need to be comfortable. Well, I have watched the members of my community sleeping in tents and cars and on the side of the freaking sidewalk in downtown Asheville. And at the same time, we have not seen people going in and out of that camp with the amount that they should be for the amount of trailers that they have. Meaning that the majority of those trailers set up in there, and it has only continued to grow, are widely going unused. At the same time, we have seen the Red Cross come in right after the storm hit, set up 30 plus shelters all over Western North Carolina. They then got called out because they started to shut those shelters down. They went on national news and said that we were spreading misinformation by saying they were pulling out of Western North Carolina, when that's not what we said to begin with. What we said was they were pulling shelters out of Western North Carolina. And within a week of them going on national news and saying that, they had pulled out every single one but one. And they said they would only pull out of areas that no longer had a need for them. Fort was one of the first places that they shut down their shelter weeks ago. I drove through Fort a couple of days after that shelter shut down, and I witnessed people setting up campsites because they had nowhere else to go. We have had one shelter here left by the Red Cross. It has been overfilled since all the other shelters shut down. They can no longer take anybody else. They haven't been for a long time, and there are still hundreds of families out here displaced by this storm. Up until this point, FEMA has only brought in 3 trailers. 3. And as far as I know, none of the keys to those trailers have been handed over to a displaced family. Yet they have had all of these other trailers in here set up in these camps for almost 2 months now that are going widely unused. I have watched FEMA have cadaver dogs out searching debris fields, and because of one online social media threat that was not even in this county, they pulled out of that area. When we had recovery crews going in there, just people within the community, people that had come in to volunteer, go out and start trying to do recovery crews. They went to FEMA and they said, hey, we know there's bodies in these specific debris piles. They went back the next day. Those debris piles had been bulldozed over. There was another local story of how they did the same thing. They found somebody in a debris pile. They said, hey, we know there's a body in here. If you can't get them out, we'll be back in the morning. They went back in the morning, and that debris pile was on fire. That is how FEMA is running recovery operations here. I have also sat here in my local community for the last 2 months, going everywhere. From every end of this county, I have been to every single end of this county in the last 2 months. I have seen that the homeless population that used to be in the thousands drop to a couple hundred. And I have sat here and watched national news tell the entire country that there's only been 102 deaths contributed to this storm, while at the same time hearing from every freaking recovery crew that we have here that they have ordered thousands and thousands of body bags. I have sat here and watched leaders of recovery crews say, I found 30 bodies on this street, 5 bodies in this park, and continue on and on until his count alone for his crew was 145. Yet the national news is only saying 102. And that was just one recovery team, giving specific names of roads and the amount of bodies they found there. That is the injustice that we have been facing here in Western North Carolina, and that is the truth. So while TikTok will take this video down and violate me for spreading misinformation, do yourselves some justice. Get here, put boots on the ground, and see what's actually going on. Watch the videos from everybody else living here telling you what's going on. Because I promise you, the information that they are giving the rest of this country is what is actually misinformation. You probably will not see me again on TikTok. But know that I have loved every single one of you, and I appreciate the support. I appreciate the donations that you have given to my community, the amount of help that you have given me personally. You guys have helped to reignite some hope in humanity. But please understand that 2 months into this, we still have hundreds of families displaced. It is getting freezing at night. And that the cleanup efforts here are nowhere near where they should be. And that a lot of these places still look like it did the day after the floodwaters receded. We are not okay here in Western North Carolina. And the things that have been happening to us here are not okay. You guys, please know that I appreciate you. I hope that God blesses every single one of you. And please stay safe out there.